Lunacy by Joe Fiore. It's madness.
Hey! That intro was quick this time. This is Lunch Therapy. Joel Marshall, your host. This is a show where on Fridays we interview people. We've got a great guest today. We've got Christopher Mannino on the show, and he's an author and an improv artist. Next to me is the show that we're having tomorrow night, which is called Laugh Therapy Live. It's a live show here in Hollywood, comedy show. These are some of the comedians that we've had on the show. Many of them are, well, they're all my favorites. They're my favorites. Some of my favorite comedians. It's a very curated show. It's at 7 o'clock, starts right at 7. Boney is hosting, my sidekick, who also happens to be a skeleton. And it's going to be super funny. It's going to be an hour-and-a-half show. Come on down to the Stray Theater in Hollywood. This is Lunch.
I'm gonna get myself a modem. 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 I'm gonna get myself a modem.
All right. Camila Lopez says she can't wait to see the show. Yeah. See the live show. She'll have a good seat in the show for sure to see everything going on. Patreons. These are my Patreons. They're coming to the show. Some of them have actually even been in the show because some of them are comedians. Thank you to all the Patreons out there. Could not do this show without you. This is the way you fund live media, live independent media. Patreon.com/Joel Marshall. Today we're going out to Facebook and YouTube and TikTok and all the different venues out there. Thank you. Daniel Muchler is one of our new Patreons. So I want to say welcome. Mary Marks as well. She's been a long-time Patreon. And behind me is Super Jeff Lohman's video that he sent in from Thailand. This is a Thai temple. Thank you to Super Jeff Lohman. And let's get into the show. This is the part where we breathe. Always in the show. The show started out during the pandemic, and we were all freaking out, and we got a hold of these people called Tibetan Vibrations. They were called Healing Vibrations. They have 2 channels, and they helped us relax, calm down. So we always take two deep breaths, 3 deep breaths at the beginning of the show. John Woodmass is here. Good to see you. Hope you are well as well, John. Wonderful to have you here. Breathe with us in through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. Travis is really meditating back there with his giant Tibetan bowl. Never seen one that big. In through the nose, out through the toes. John says he's good, bro. Keep the cool, calm, collect going. Yeah, we've got a new slogan. We used to say, take a break from the crap. Now it's take a break from the cruel. There's so much cruelty going on in the world. You need a break. In through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. Yeah, we got a great guest today who also has a method for when things get really dark or things get a little bit too much for you. He has his own personal method for bringing oneself back to the center. We win on positivity. That's where we win. That's where we win. That's right. I love it, John. Thanks a lot for that. We're going to get on with the show. We're also really into animals on this show. This is the Oregon Zoo. These are some harbor seals in a bucket. I mean, who doesn't like that? Look at that. If you want to get on over to Oregon Zoo's YouTube channel, they got tons of stuff. I love how there's somebody just laughing in the background. Must be fun to work with these kind of animals.
Can you roll all the way? Look at you.
They're so smart, too. Whoop. Yeah. We're very grateful to Oregon Zoo because a lot of times we have animals on the show from their zoo. They do some incredible videos. On Tuesdays, we delve a little bit more into the animals. And our Tuesday show happens at noon, and there's a contest where you can win $15, sometimes even more. Somebody actually won $70 on our Tuesday show. I remember him. He sang Kissed by a Rose. Seal, I think. That's him. Oh, man, I love Seal. Whatever happened to Seal? I haven't seen him in a while. This is Marcel Hutter. I'm sure Seal's out there kicking ass. Marcel Hutter. This is handpan. It's one of our favorite signature instruments on the show. Marcel Hutter. Crank it. Cam wants to go. Yeah, me too. Oh, by the way, Tuesday's show, we're going to have a live handpan player coming on the show. Maybe he'll even play the contest. I don't know. All right, that's Marcel. Marcel Hutter, thank you very much for that. Now we're getting on to the interview here. We're all ready now. We're ready for the interview. Tomorrow at the live show, we're going to do some deep breaths as well. Get ourselves ready for that. The live show here in Hollywood, California at 7 p.m. at the Stray Theater. But now on to today's show, which we're very, very fortunate to have Christopher Mannino on the show. He is a creative force whose work bridges imagination, parenting, and deep human connection. He's the best-selling author, TEDx speaker, former theater teacher, master storyteller, who's written across many genres. He does an epic fantasy series of books. There are 3 books called The Scythe Wielder's Secret. And it's a trilogy of 3 books. It's about a girl named Susie, who's a 13-year-old who unexpectedly is swept into the profession of death. She's training to be death. I don't know. It sounds really interesting. The Reaper of Souls. She goes to school to become death. That should be interesting to talk to him about. On the nonfiction side, he has a brand new book out called Making It Up, which introduces a revolutionary way for adults to connect to kids through improv techniques. And this is rooted in his years of theater experience and real-world parenting. And another thing that's super interesting, I think a lot of you will find interesting, is that he and his family are digital nomads, where they're living abroad, they're living the life, the dream, traveling together, not tied down. They've got their own businesses and their own sources of income. So that's like a dream, right? And they can travel and they can see all kinds of things that you don't see when you're just sitting in your home. All right, let's get on with it. Interview Friday.
It's the storm of stress and anxiety we all carry, the one I brought to all of you for a moment at the beginning of this speech. Whether from internal factors or external, the storm is the same. It batters and bashes you. News worries, life worries, money worries. For me, I was in a period of transition in my writing career and feeling very nervous about my future. And the news beat in the background like a drumbeat of steady rain against my will. The glass was falling out of my hands, shattering on the ground in the rain of this unending storm. Well, to combat it, I reached for my anchor. And over my years as a parent, I've adopted this technique into my own method that I call anchors. That moment with my daughter, those wide eyes, and that feeling of pride in me, that was my memory, my anchor, clung to it, and I weathered.
All right. Welcome to Lunch
Hi,
Therapy,
Joel. Hi, everybody.
Christopher
Thank you.
Mannino.
Thank
Yeah, great to see you. Where are you coming to us from?
I am in Sweetie, Malta at the moment. Malta
You're-
is a very little archipelago in between Sicily and Africa and Tunisia.
Wow. What is an archipelago?
It's a group of islands.
It
So
is.
Malta is 3 islands, well, technically 5 islands, but there are only 3 with any people on them. Only 2 that have real populations, because the third has 4 people who live on it. But it's a city-state. It's a very, very, very small island that is basically, think of it as like kind of one big city, but it's an ancient place. In fact, the second oldest freestanding structures on Earth are here.
Really?
In Malta, there are Neanderthal ruins, there are Roman ruins. It's most of the culture really dates back to a very, very late crusade. It was one of the last crusades. I could get into all the Maltese history later, but
Yeah.
it's a wonderful place and it's a lovely kind of crossroads. It's a European country, but and it's a unique, very vibrant culture, and we love living here. We've been here since June.
Since when? June?
Since June, since this
Wow.
past June.
What made you select that particular place? And did you know about it beforehand? Or, I mean, did you do
I'm
research?
embarrassed to say we did not know that much about Malta before moving here. We've learned a lot and we've loved it here. The truth is, we had wanted the World School all the way back to the pandemic. And everybody assumes right away, oh, this was a political thing. We've actually been planning this long before.
Mm-hmm.
During the pandemic, I was freelance writing for Business Insider, and I interviewed a group of people who were world schooling, and I had never heard of this. And what these people were doing was they were families with children who were living around the world. And so they were just most of them were kind of homeschooling as they went, but a couple of them were kind of putting their kids in schools in different parts of the world. And my wife and I had both lived abroad. I finished my postgrad at Oxford. She had lived in the Netherlands and at Cambridge at various points. And we always loved having an international perspective. And, now that we were having a family, or now that we did rather at the pandemic, we were like, this sounds amazing. Like, let's do this. Let's try this with our kids. And so the summer before last summer, summer 2024, we gave it a kind of test run with a month in Ireland. And we learned a lot. We learned a lot about so that kind of go place to place to place to place, which is what some people do, is actually not work.
Yeah.
We are very, very slow travelers. So our kids are in school,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a house that we're renting. And we're here for at least a few years. But then after that, I don't know what happens next. But we love it. Yeah, it's a process. So to go back to how Malta, so once we knew we wanted to do it, and once we knew we wanted to go explore the world, and the timing was right. And it wasn't just that we had wanted to do this. And some of the current politics hadn't happened yet, but what had happened where we were living in Delaware. And I'm not sure you're familiar with the Alice drills in the school. This is
No,
where they
tell us
act
about
out the
that.
school shootings.
Oh.
So they act out the school shootings and they train the kids to hide and throw books at attackers because that's how America deals with guns.
Throw books.
Yeah.
That's in the
And
drill?
so they,
Throwing books at the attacker.
yeah, and they act out the stuff. Well, they had moved this, and I say it so casually now,
Yeah.
but they had moved this to the kindergartens. That was the new thing in our district. And we were like, the heck is not how we want our kids to live, like with this being the norm. There's only one country where that happens. So we were like, now's the time to go looking. And so then if you want to do that, then it really becomes an interesting thing of where can you go? Where can you work? So I mentioned Ireland, for example. We can't legally work in Ireland, for example. Digital nomads can't live
Really?
in Ireland. Some countries want people to come and have their own income and do whatever, and other countries don't. There are visas, there are laws around it. We can go to Ireland, we can travel there, but we can't work there, especially for like more than 90 days and so on. So we knew we had to go to a country that digital nomads could go to. My wife was very specific that she wanted to go somewhere warm. So that we cut out a lot of countries. And then we have a lot of family in Europe, so we wanted to go to Europe. And for us, we wanted to go somewhere English speaking. So Malta was actually English until 50 years ago. It was part of.
It was a British.
It was a British base basically until just 50 years ago. They just had the big anniversary. And so once you put all those things into a kind of checklist, the number of countries actually gets very, very quickly.
Wow.
And so we were like, I've not heard of this place much. I like other than a footnote. And as you said before the show, like the Maltese Falcon, we knew of that.
The Maltese Falcon.
And we started researching it and we're like, this place looks really interesting. My first time to Malta was just me and my son. As part of the whole visa application thing, you have to secure a rental. And so we literally came to Malta to secure this rental that I love it. We're in this beautiful villa. You can't see it now because it's nighttime, but we look right out over the Mediterranean. On a clear day, you can see all the way to Sicily, all the way down over the city-state to, gorgeous churches and UNESCO sites. And
oh my God.
It's an amazing view.
Sounds
and
great.
So it's wonderful. And so, but we went, having never set foot in Malta, with the intention of getting a house. And we said, worst case scenario, we try it for a year, we go somewhere else. Ends up that we love it though, and we're going to stay here at least a few more years. So, is the food Italian? I can see the little comments on the bottom.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Italian culture. The Maltese here have a love-hate relationship with the Italians. Sicily is close. Most everything's imported from Italy, produce-wise, and Africa. There's not too much grown here. But no, I wouldn't say it's Italian. Maltese has their own cuisine. There's a lot of British here.
Yeah.
And somebody commenting about UK and Ireland. There's a lot of British culture here too, left over, and a lot of British expats, a lot of Irish expats, and a lot of people vacation. It's also a cruise stop. Like that's
Is
the other
it?
thing
It's a
that
cruise
Malta
stop.
is.
Yeah.
Well, so
I bet.
500,000 people live here, which is very small.
Yeah.
It's a very small country, but over 2 million come through during cruise season. So they'll park over at Valletta, the cruise boats. Well, we can see them. The cruise boats will come in, park. It's kind of weird. They'll spend a couple days and then they'll go.
So Kamala was saying she keeps seeing Ireland as being suggested to move there. People are saying you can get.
Ireland's wonderful. I love Ireland, except the weather.
Yeah.
If anybody's watching from Ireland right now, I'm glad not to be in that weather.
And
you want good weather, come to Malta.
She also is saying, do you need a special visa? So, you have to
you
qualify,
yeah.
right?
But
tell us about
well,
that.
and it depends on what you do. It depends on what your situation is. My parents moved to Ireland, and they lived there.
Yeah.
But my parents, they actually live in Cork now. But my parents are retired, so they don't have the same type of situation. So they were able to get a visa for that. They were able to live there. They don't, they don't work. It's a different situation. And then it's different in every country. For example, I could move. We were looking at Cardiff. I had spent time in UK. I love Wales specifically. We could do them legally,
Hmm.
but just imagine a mountain the size of like Mount Etna that you're climbing of paperwork to
Oh,
get into the
really?
UK as
It's
opposed
that
to,
hard.
well, so when you're a different type of economy, so the countries like Malta and Portugal specifically want digital nomads.
They want
They
them.
make it, they want digital nomads. So if you're a digital nomad, you go to a digital nomad place where they're like, oh, come here, we'll make it easier for you. For us in Malta, we're switching visas right now because Malta in the EU is really big on being a startup hub. They want people to open a business here and take it abroad. We actually just opened a business, not related to the writing, but we did that a couple months ago, and we're in the process of switching to the startup visa. Again,
Hmm.
they want people to do this,
Yeah.
and oh, I cannot pronounce what my Welsh studies are terrible. I see people asking me to produce. I'm not going to embarrass myself.
I embarrass myself all the time on this show, pronouncing things
No, no.
incorrectly.
But I
Wow.
love Wales is a beautiful place.
So, okay, so you're there and with your kids, you have a lot of responsibility though when you have your kids. I know you're there in school, but still, like you've taken them out of their, what you would think they're a lot of their normal
We
situation.
in a matter of 4 months, we literally sold 95% of everything we own
Wow.
because it costs a freaking ton to ship.
Yeah.
We went debt free by selling the house and the car. I mean, you want to go debt free. That's the easiest way, then you don't have a mortgage, right?
Yeah.
So that was great. That actually was able to pay off all the student loans and everything just with that too.
Wow.
So that was freeing.
Hmm.
And to be honest, getting rid of all the stuff,
Yeah.
God, I got to talk to the karma about that. We saved some. We
Hmm.
saved some. We actually did ship some toys, and then some special, like the wedding album. Like there's some stuff like you're gonna save, right? We had a sand ceremony for our wedding. We're gonna save that sand, right? Like
Yeah.
the special things, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so we shipped some stuff. It honestly took like 5.5 months and a ton of paperwork to get here. That's all of the story. But so we get rid of 95% of what we own. And yeah, saying goodbye to to the friends and what they know. And it's scary. It's
Yeah, I
scary as a
bet.
kid. But I gotta say, they are thriving. They are doing better than they've ever done. They're making friends. We're still in contact with their old friends. We're gonna visit their old friends, but they're constantly making new friends and doing new things, going on adventures. Just this last week, my daughter started a theater camp on the Saturdays, and I took my son, just him and me. We went down to there's a cave called Diar Dalam down in the southern part of the island because Malta used to be overrun in the ice age. This was not covered in ice, but it was a land bridge to Italy. So it was covered by hippopotamuses who all
No
got
way.
stuck here, and they all shrunk because they didn't have enough food when the Mediterranean came back. So they have these ice age caves that's still an active dig site. So we went and visited it, and we're talking, and you can see the bones, you can see the dig site, and we're talking about like how does evolution work, and what is this dig site, and what is it? And I love that. I love this first, and there's stuff like that all over the world. Like I love being able to show our kids that, explore that with them. It's amazing.
Live rather than like in a book or something.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
That's cool. Okay, we have a question. Oh, applause. That's great. Thank you, everybody. What kind of animals are there now? Did you bring your pets with you? Did you have any pets?
We did not bring our pets. We went pet free. Sadly, part of the timing of leaving was our cat passing away.
Hmm.
If somebody's looking at the Knights of Malta, that is the culture that has stayed. And if you go to the famous cities, Valletta and Mdina, they are very medieval feeling, very Baroque. It's a very Baroque because the Knights are the 1600s. It's not like the English Knights when you think of like the 1200s. Most of the knights here are from, and Valletta and Jean de Valette is 1600s, so it's much later, but everything is very Baroque and wonderful. And the Baroque history and the fortified cities are amazing. But what kind of animals are here now? The animal we have the most of, honestly, is chickens. There are chickens everywhere and lizards.
Chickens and lizards.
And birds. Chickens and lizards. Chickens and lizards and birds.
So,
And cats. There are cats.
oh, there are
everywhere.
cats. Oh, good. We love cats. Is there what prompted you to, you just published a book called Making It Up. There it is. All right. Can you tell us what prompted you to make this book and what this book is about?
Absolutely. So 3 years ago, as many parents of young kids are, we were big fans of Bluey. And
Bluey.
I was in.
Can you explain
Bluey,
to Bluey?
I've
just learned about
Bluey
it.
is a show from Australia. If you haven't seen it, it's a great, great show. Very, very popular. They're in the Macy's parade. That's one of the most watched shows for that age out there, but everybody should watch it. Even if you don't have kids,
Really?
It's a fantastic, fun show.
Is it
And
an
the
internet
first
show? Because it's only like, each episode is only like
it's a you see it on Disney Plus if you're in America, but it's a public show from Australia.
Yeah.
From
They're
the
short
Australian
though, right?
Broadcasting
They're
Corporation.
short episodes?
All 7 to 8 minutes. Like most are like 7.5 minutes. So they're all very, very brief. And the format is these dogs, they're really people. There it is. Yep. What they do, what Joe, the creator, did is he has this family of dogs, and in every single episode, they're basically just doing an extended improvisation.
Oh.
It's really how they're playing, and this hasn't really been shown as a playing or parenting thing before. And Bluey exploded in popularity, and it was a wonderful show. And so about 3.5 years, it still is, but about 3.5 years ago, there was a mother right as the show was taking off. And I, to be honest, I can't even remember what publication it was. It was Red Book, Newsweek, one of them. But a mother went off and was complaining, and she wrote an article. She published an article about how she hates Bluey because it has ruined parenting for her.
Why?
Because it sets unrealistic expectations. That was sort of the point of the article. And all of the fan groups, and I admit, I was in some of the fan groups because I really loved this show and it was great. And so all of us parents, the fan groups, we were all sharing this article. And I shared it with my wife. And my wife and I had already talked about how Bluey, man, it's so theater-based. It's so what we do. We do. And so my wife, she's looking at this article and she looks me right in the eye and she's like, Chris, you're an author.
Yeah.
Write this book.
Oh.
And you're a former teacher.
Yeah.
Teach people how to do this.
Yeah.
So how the book starts. The book starts with my wife taking my butt, saying this book. Sort of as a response to that angry mother. And it's not a Bluey book specifically, it's Bluey adjacent, but it's very, very much that's how it starts.
Yeah.
And the type of parenting they do, it's actually really easy.
Really?
It's not impossible, but if you've never done this type of thing, there's definitely a lot to learn. And even if you have, when I was testing the method out, I had a lot of my theater friends, a lot of my improv friends were testing it. And one of the quotes right inside, I'm not going to look for it right now, but I remember one of my friends who was literally a theater teacher, and she had done all this acting, and she was like, man, I remember he explained the premise of the book. This isn't going to change anything for me.
Yeah.
I'm sure. And then literally 2 days later, she's private messaging me and she's like, oh my God, like, how did this change everything? Even I, who thought I knew it all. And it's just an awareness of what you're doing and learning the rules and learning these techniques. And it comes down to these 2 pillars, really. And so half the book is sort of loosely improv based, but how that can tap into your connection with kids. And the other half is actually very much based on emotional recall, which is from method acting and Stanislavski. And that was the clip at the beginning from TEDx. And I was actually just starting to explore this anchor idea. And the anchor is honestly fundamental to how this method works too. Because
tell us about that. Tell us about the anchor.
Well, you can't connect if you're not present. And if you're not regulated. So where that comes from, how it starts is back in the pandemic. When I was really, we had just had another baby. My daughter had just been born. Our son was in preschool. And of course, the world shut down. Dystopia comes, it's the gray descends. We all remember, everybody's like, oh, I don't want to remember this right now, but we
Yeah.
all remember it. And all of a sudden, and I was a former teacher, and I had actually left in teaching. Did you start in theater or drama? I actually started in English briefly, but I had always wanted to be a theater teacher. And so I was a high school theater teacher. But the problem was when our son was born, to go back to wonderful things about America, and I say this
Yeah.
with a bit of sarcasm, but the maternal and parental leave thing. So I was given 3 days of parental leave,
3
and I
days.
was told I was welcome to take more, but don't expect, my theater program if I take more than that.
You
So
mean you
that
might
was
lose
fun.
your job if you took more
No,
than
they can't legally fire, but they can. So as a
take away
teacher, they
things.
can switch me to, and I had this massive theater program that I worked hard to build, and that was my dream job. We were doing like 4 major shows a year, 6 classes of theater, and a separate improv troupe. This is the dream theater, right?
Yeah.
All my own curricula. I loved it. So we had the kid in the summer because of the parental thing, and we put him into preschool. This is my son Gavin, and I have to admit he's in daycare, not preschool, sorry, daycare, and I was having panic attacks. My wife and I were not doing the best because this was our little baby, and the daycare was not the best, bluntly. And we started having issues with the daycare. We were starting to gonna look for another one. And finally we said, look, this isn't working. Maybe one of us should stay home. And at the time, I was working 12 hours a day, 5, sometimes 6 days a week for exactly half the pay, just about, of my wife
Oh, wow.
because I was a teacher.
Yeah.
So,
Horrible.
so that's when I left teaching.
And they're
I did
teaching
leave teaching.
if life sends you problems, throw a book at it.
It was the best. It was the best decision though, because I became a stay-at-home dad for
Yeah.
7.5 years. I was a full-time stay-at-home dad. I was doing occasional things on the side, but I am so grateful for that time in my life. And so then the pandemic hit,
Yeah.
and I'm combining. Here's the teacher background. Here's the panic of the pandemic,
Yeah.
and here's me feeling super nervous.
Yeah.
And so I started backtracking, and I didn't even realize this until I was drafting the book. But what I was doing in the pandemic was I was backtracking into my actor training. And I really was. I was backtracking into these skills from like 2 decades on stage that I wasn't really consciously aware of at the time. But when I was drafting the book, I was like, God, this is exactly what I was doing then. And this is still what I do now. And wait a sec, this is something that maybe I should help other people with. And what it is basically emotional recall. So the anchor, what it is I focus on a really clear memory that happened I always make it within the last month. 5 children. Yeah, that's a full-time job.
That is.
And so so my anchor is always something within the last month that really, really happened to me that filled me with intense joy. That trip to the Ice Age cave actually is my current anchor. That's what I was thinking about just now, even before the interview. Before that, my anchor for a month, we had gone to Munich. It's really easy to get around the EU. And we went to the Hellebrand Zoo, which is the zoo in Munich. And they had 3 or maybe 4 polar bears. I had never seen polar bears. My son, who is all about the animals, that's what he wants to open an animal sanctuary one day, seeing his face light up at seeing those live polar bears in this beautiful enclosure. That moment right there, oh my God, that joy. And it's really easy to picture.
Yeah.
Now it's picturing the cab ride home. And I always go to the most specific moment possible. We talked about the digital nomad stuff. He's 9.5.
Yeah.
We're in the cab ride home. And he says, we're chatting about dad ventures in life. And he says, Dad, I am so grateful I get to see the world.
Wow.
I hold everything, freeze a moment, because oh my God, do you know how
It's like a
validating
validation of exactly what you're doing.
oh my God, like this is freaking scary. We saw all our friends. We went to a country we didn't even really exist in.
Yeah.
Are we not? And here it is 6 months later, and my son saying, thank you.
Ah, beautiful.
powerful. So that's my anchor right now. And
Yeah.
so to go to that, if I'm, a second to go, oh man, I'm going to start doom scrolling, or I'm going to worry about this business, or even if, right before the show, my daughter didn't want to go to bed. It can be as simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's nighttime here.
Yeah.
And, you gotta center yourself. You gotta regulate yourself, because if you're not regulated, you're not connecting, and you're not able to bond, and you're not having fun.
And you're not present.
You're not present at all. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's great. I love that, how you use what you've learned, from your theater training. Powered by hummingbirds. So tell us a little bit about how you use improv techniques to work with the kids. Because you said Bluey, does the family in Bluey, do they use improv techniques, or is it created through improv, the show?
It's not conscientiously improv, and I got to pause to acknowledge that is what Malta looks like. That looks like either the Three Cities or Valletta, but that is very traditional.
You know what I did is I put this into an AI generator and said, give me a street
there
in
you
Malta. And then I kind of did a little bit of movie magic with it. But yeah, it looks like it. They were right, huh?
There are many streets that look just like that. That's the
Really?
balcony, Mediterranean in the back. Yep, that's
I
how it
love
looks like.
it.
The water is very, very, very blue here,
Wow.
and it's almost always sunny. This is actually winter here is the green season, because it's the only time we get rain. It is actually, a bit of a desert.
Yeah.
And we do get a lot of Saharan sand at times too,
Wow.
because we're very close to the Sahara.
Yeah.
But to go back to Bluey, yeah. So it's not consciously improv. You wouldn't necessarily recognize it as improv.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not. And I think improv, and I actually really avoid that word at times, because I think that word scares some people.
Yeah.
I think people think stand-up show, or whose line is it anyway?
I have to perform for my kid to entertain them.
Well, and I actually remember when I was pitching this book to Cornelius, who's the publisher, I had a conversation with the head of their publishing house, and his biggest concern was, he's like, wait, so this isn't a theater book, is it? Nobody wants theater book. And I was like, no, it's not. And that's actually
Nobody wants theater books.
Well, and then some people do that. But for what it is, this is not for theater people. Theater people will love it. But it is not a theater book. It's an everybody book. And I think that's part of why Bluey takes off. It's for everybody. It's just, how are these people having fun? And so you see these dogs, these cartoons, and they go in, and, it'll be a little... Honestly, the very first episode of Bluey is a game of freeze, which is a traditional improv game. That's what I instantly noticed. I was like, okay, improv. But the others are not as cut and dry. Like some episodes, you just see them and they're on a bus, and they've clearly set up chairs in their kitchen, and they're pretending they're pretending to be these characters, and they're just going there.
Yeah.
And they're just building and building and building. I remember we asked if there could be illustrations. I love, it's beautifully illustrated.
Yeah.
But when we were talking about the back, I'll hold it up a little bit to the camera, see if I can show. So the back has these kids holding bricks and building a tower. And I remember specifically asking for that illustration, because that's what improv is. You take these ideas, which we call bricks in theater, and you build. And that is, whether it's Bluey or whether it's making it up, that's what successful play is all about. Is somebody says something that's an idea, you accept it, you build, then the other person builds, then the other person builds, and the other person. So just last weekend, we went, my daughter and I, we went to London, we went to the airport, we went through the whole screening process, we got a very fancy hotel, we stayed there for 6 nights, then just her and I got another airplane, went to France. We were going to visit the Eiffel Tower. And to clarify, we never left our kitchen when all of these things happened. This was just play. This was just imagination.
You never left.
That's what it looks like when you're starting to build things with your kid.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop. The first day of the pandemic, I go back to that a lot in the book. My son and I explored the solar system. We still sing the song around the sun. We have fun. Yeah, we made up a little song. Everything was
You
kind
made
of
up a
silly.
song. That's great.
The teacher in me was insisting that I at least do the order of the planets, right? I have to teach at least some of it, right?
Yeah.
But it was trying to make it fun, and we set up the chairs, like with cushions and stuff, and we just built together, and so it was like he was the one who came up with, oh, the engines are broken now. And it's like, okay, well, now we have to get this to fix them. And oh, now we have to go here. And oh, well, then we have to do this. And so if that idea comes and you build, and another person gives an idea and you build, that's the beauty of improv. And if you can turn that into a connective form of playtime, yeah, sky's the limit, and you're going to bond with your kids. I like to say 10 minutes a day. That's all it really takes, 10 minutes a day.
Can you explain the yes and philosophy?
Absolutely. It's all about, as I said, accepting and building. So, kid runs into the room. You're cooking dinner, right? And the kid runs in and holds out their hand. They're like, here's a pizza. There's so many different reactions you can have. You can be like, okay, thanks. There's nothing in their hands. There's no prop. There's nothing. They just got their blank hand. And I think a lot of parenting, realistically, is we're trained to say no, especially once the kids get to talking age. And the reason for this is if you think about children, especially little kids, I mean, they are so self-destructive. It really is a miracle we don't survive as a species.
Yeah.
Little kids do, right? They come out, they're barely formed, and then it's like, I'm going to put this in my mouth. I'm going to jump on it.
Yeah.
They're trying to kill themselves without realizing it. I mean, and any parent here who spent the hours baby-proofing exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But so you're so trained, and that's wrong. You have to have it. You have to say, no, don't eat that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
No, don't. That's part of it. So to then let go of all that and to just be like, you're in the middle of cooking. Oh, this is delicious.
Yeah.
Pineapple on pizza. What is this? I've accepted. I've accepted that there's pizza here, and I've added something. I've added that there's pineapple. And so what it is at its most core level is it's a form of acceptance. It's a form of you're accepting their idea, their creativity, and then which is a whole other concept, is you're building on it. And ideally, and one of the things I emphasize in the book is you're never going to sit down with the kid and say, hey, this is yes, and this is what it means. Let's do that. This is what no, you're not teaching the kid ever. You're learning it yourself to recognize it in playtime. And I've actually got a whole video course that just launched with this too, for especially for those who are scared of theater. Some people like pineapple on pizza. I do not. But
yeah.
But there's this book and this course, and the whole idea is how can you be active? How can you be actively engaged and actively listening? Take every single suggestion, because kids full of ideas.
Yeah.
That's part of development. They have to be, because they don't understand the world.
Yeah.
They are trying to. So they're just going to throw all these bricks out there, these ideas. This is a brick, and this is a brick. So for 10 minutes a day, instead of saying no, like you were sort of trained to, instead of saying this isn't the time to do this, I'm cooking. For 10 minutes a day, you're going to set aside your phone. You're going to turn off the TV. You're going to turn off your email. You're going to pause cooking. You're going to give that kid your full undivided attention. And every single idea, you're going to accept it and you're going to build on it. And think, I got to emphasize too, at the neurological level and the psychology behind it, what you're doing to these kids and these younger children, what you're teaching them in today's world, especially about acceptance. about their creativity being valued, about them being valued, and about how you can give them all that active attention. I mean, that's the foundation for your bond right there. That's when the bond starts to build.
You're also training somebody to be collaborative, in the future with other
Absolutely,
people,
yeah.
and not be always like, no, no, no. and
And that
also,
goes back to
yeah,
this,
yeah,
because you want to all be building at the same time.
yeah.
There's a whole section about that too. One of the common mistakes in improv when you're training new actors is
Hmm.
one person takes over.
Hmm.
That's very, very common.
Yes.
And or they say a lot of no, thinking they're saying yes. So the kid brings you the pizza.
Yes.
Here's the pizza, and you're like, yes, and it's not a pizza,
Uh,
it's a cake.
yeah, yeah.
So what did I just do? I said
You
no,
said
even
no.
with the word yes and.
Yeah.
Um, and there's a lot of time where one person will start, doing more, leading the play, or the other person. But when it's all working, God, it's beautiful. There's an episode of Bluey. We're going back to Bluey for a second. There's an
Hmm.
episode of Bluey called Octopus, which
Hmm.
is a really good one to look at. And it's about Bluey's friend Chloe comes over, and Chloe is playing this game with Bluey and her dad called Octopus. And she then goes home and tries to play it with her dad, and it doesn't work.
Mm.
It's one of the only episodes that is not really shown in the main family's point of view. It's shown at a different point of view. And what they come to the realization of is they've been saying no to each other. What happens if they say yes and build? I mean, John's not subtle with
Yeah.
They're putting it out there and saying, heck, let's try not saying no. If you're a different father, say yes and see what happens. And I love that. If you understand what he's actually saying subtextually, it's beautiful, it's simple, and it's such a concrete example of yes, go and try this, say yes, and build. It's so concrete.
Do you think that Bluey, that they're very conscious of this idea of yes and?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
100%.
100%. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. One of the things I want to ask you about is this, the scythe
Sure.
wielder's secret. Tell us about this. This is
Do not have a copy near me.
this is a young adult's book, fantasy book, and you've written 3 in this trilogy. When did you start this, and what sparked this creative idea?
Sure, sure. So I finished my postgrad at a term in Oxford.
Hmm.
And I had been to England before, so I had this personal mantra that was not part of my program. My program had some very specific stipulations, which were we were not allowed to have smartphones,
Hmm.
which was an interesting stipulation in retrospect.
Yeah.
And we were not allowed to, those were the 2 big ones.
You were
right?
not allowed to
So
what?
no
What was the
car,
second one? No
to
car?
drive, to drive.
Oh, to drive.
No car, no driving. Those were just program rules.
Hmm.
So I had no smartphone, no car. And this was in, God, it was years ago, 14 years ago, 2011, actually.
Hmm.
So almost 15 years. And the fall. And I had this personal sort of goal that at least once a week, I had to go experience some place new.
Hmm.
Because here I am in this beautiful country. I wanted to seize that moment. I wanted to seize everything. I wanted to go see all the new things, do all the new things. And I had done a lot of some of the touristy stuff in earlier trips. I was like, so I want to see, places I haven't been. And so I was on one of those trips, and I went to Tintagel. I'm probably saying it wrong if anybody from the UK is watching. Over in
John's on it.
Cornwall,
Yeah.
which is the supposed birthplace of King Arthur.
Ah,
And the statue of King Arthur, which is beautiful now, and if you look it up on Google, it wasn't even there when I went. I love the statue. It's in the picture. But this is supposedly where King Arthur was born. It's a beautiful castle ruin on a little, technically an island, but it kind of feels like a peninsula on the Cornish coast.
Hmm.
Anyway, I went there by train, and it wasn't until I was there's the beautiful statue. Yes, that did not exist when I was there. And it wasn't till I was on the bus, I was like the sole person on the bus asking the guy to drop me off at the tourist office because I wanted some information. I didn't realize until about then that it was the only bus back to Exeter for the day. Like there was no other bus.
Yeah.
So I had no way to get back until the next day. There
Until
was
the next
one
day.
bus a day at the time.
Huh.
Yeah, so I had no way to get back until the next day. It was very long to get there by train and bus from Oxford.
Mhm.
I had very little money. Nobody knew I was there. I had no phone. When I found a lovely pub, my first thing was like, oh, and they took me to the post office, which was completely closed. But like, thanks, bus driver. So I was like wandering pub to pub, and I was like, well, first need find somewhere to stay, right?
Yeah.
So I found a pub that let me stay there overnight. And they gave me a room right above the kind of gaming area with the pool and stuff. And in England, a lot of places, the law is, or the rule is, they stay open until the people leave.
Mm.
And this was a lovely,
Wow.
I would definitely go to a lovely pub, but it was pretty noisy. I am a very light sleeper. So I did not sleep. So I had done some touristy stuff after I found the room, but I did not sleep at all. And I knew that they weren't going to open the kitchens until much later. And it is at this point 4 a.m. the next day.
Whoa.
I'm exhausted. It's pitch black out, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I go and being the brilliant Oxfordian that I was, again, nobody knows I'm there. I go and I decide to watch the sunrise from this promontory, from this cliff called Barris Nose. It's this long promontory next to Tintagel.
Hmm.
And it's these sheer, like probably 70-ish foot drops, open cliffs into the Celtic Sea.
Hmm.
And the wind was about 50, 60 miles an hour. And it was wet. It was a damp wind.
Hmm.
And it was dark. And I kept slipping. So rather than go back, I was crawling on all fours
Whoa.
at the edge of the cliff until I reached the very tip where I watched the sunrise. And there's no people around. And it was honestly, in retrospect, really, really dumb.
Really dumb.
Because I think everyone died. And nobody even know everything.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was really just beautiful and sort of centering. And I felt thoroughly isolated. I could see the castle ruin. I
Uh-huh.
couldn't really see the town. I could see one hotel, but it felt like I was all alone in the world. And the sun is rising, and I was just like, I'm all alone. I'm literally like in a really dangerous situation, but I don't feel scared.
You're not
And
scared?
so that's how the book starts.
Wow. That's
And
how the book
I
starts.
was like, that's the origin of the book, yeah. Because I started playing around with what would be a situation where somebody is totally, totally alone in a really dangerous situation, but they don't feel scared. So, and originally it started as a boy, and then I was like, no, I'm going to make this the first female death. And so it was this book about a group of deaths. Death is just a job. And it ended up being a trilogy about deaths versus dragons. If you do read the whole trilogy, there is a whole section in Tintagel in the second book to kind of honor that moment.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole section where they go to Oxford in the third
Really?
book. And it's very clearly set in the house where I was writing this. And I will admit, the first book especially feels very Harry Potter.
Yeah.
If you're wondering why it feels Harry Potter, so where was I drafting this at the time? So I was at Oxford, and I'm literally drafting this in Duke Humphrey's library. If
Wow.
you have seen the Harry Potter films,
Yeah.
you have seen Duke Humphrey's library, because
Really?
that's where they filmed the library section. The room beneath me was where they filmed Professor Flitwick's class. The wall where the windows were, that was the wall they used for hospital scenes. Even Emma Watson was going to school there when I was there.
Oh my
So I
God.
admit, it felt like I was
Yeah.
really there.
Yeah.
And so yes, I admit there's a definite Harry Potter vibe, especially in the first book. I tried to go away from the later books. But yeah,
Wow.
that started my writing career. You have the picture there. Yeah. That
Duke
started my
Humphrey.
career 14 years ago. I started drafting that. I've actually written 31 books. This one is my 31st
31
book.
books. Really? Wow.
To be fair, 10 of those are picture books.
Yeah.
But they're all sort of on the back burner with other publishers. They're coming soon. But yeah, only 4 out now. But yes.
Okay, here's my
31st
big question. When is the movie coming out of the Scythe Wielder's Secret?
That is beyond me.
When is the
It was fun. It
series
was a fun
happening?
series.
I mean, come on.
It was a really fun series.
Woo! Oh, this is whoops. That is amazing. Yeah, well, we got to get on that. I got to read these books. Got to figure out how we're going to get the series going. Unfortunately, we're at the end of the show. Can you believe it? We got to the end of the show. Thank you so much for being on the show. It's really an amazing experience you're having. And
Thank you.
it's a great way to like share what's possible in life. Because a lot of times people feel like they're stuck. And, there's not a lot of options, but there's a ton of options. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, I've got 2 kids. I can't travel.
You can. Taking risks, it's scary. It's not easy. I will say it is definitely not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. It's really rewarding. It's so rewarding. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the life we live. I'm grateful for my wife, especially, and the kids. And this book is the kids. I will say this book is different than anything I've written. I mentioned writing a lot of books because this is just me. There's no plot, like realistically, it's a nonfiction book, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a method and it works and it's wonderful, but it's also me and my kids and my story. And I tap into some other people who shared the method with me, but it keeps going back to that. And so it's much more personal. And I really do think that it will. I said to my editor when we were writing it, I said, look, unlike most parenting books, like this is not a psychology, this is not a behavior book. This is a book where every single page has to either give something actionable or at bare minimum, something entertainable that's relatable. That's it. Every single page. There's going to be no fluff in this book. That's what I said to them. It ended up being a shorter book. But I am so grateful for that too, because every single page, something actionable or something that's entertaining, that's relatable. And that's usually stories of me doing it with my kids, to be honest.
And you also teach a workshop too, right?
There's a course online. If you're a group, I do seminars and stuff for that. That's usually more for groups in school. But there's a whole self-paced workshop that you can take with Making It Up that just went live, and it's wonderful. And I've spent 3 months doing that, and I am very proud of that course too. It's really good.
That's great. So there's a link in the show note where you can get the book. There's also ChristopherMannino.com where you can look up.
Check that out.
Any information about Christopher there. Yeah, I'm moving around.
It's always hard to point on Zoom anyway.
Yeah. It's hard to point. It's hard to do anything on Zoom. Anyway, it's so great having you. Now we're going to have our dance break.
Let's do it.
Thanks for the inspiration. And if
Thank
you ever want
so much, Joel.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. If you ever want to do a roving reporter with your kids, like go someplace cool and video it and do a little short segment, we'd love to show it on the show as well.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. All right, dance time.
We're gonna ride till we fall. They say we got no future at all.
Michael Gonzalez,
They wanna keep us out, can't hold us
Justin
down
Westfall.
anymore. Gonna ride till we fall.
When we hit the bottom, nothing's gonna stop us. Climb to the
Thanks
top.
everybody for being here today.
We could be the greatest ones who ever made it. Yeah, I could be talking you. They're trying to hate, but we won't change anything at all. Oh, we're gonna rise till we fall. They think we just dropouts, living at our mom's house. Parents must be so proud, they know it all. They don't speak our language. They say we're too savage. Yeah, no, we don't give up anymore. We're gonna ride till we fall. We're gonna ride till we fall.
All right, thanks for being on the show. See y'all next
Thank
week
you so much.
for more lunch therapy.